Welcome back to Wasteland Engineering. In the previous episodes, we talked about what synergistic design is and how to pick between multiple synergistic options. We created a framework of questions to help us narrow down our choices and find the right items for our weapon. In this episode, we will be applying a similar approach to help us choose the right movement type for our build. We will be discussing what the key attributes of each movement type are and how to use these attributes to help guide our decision. To begin, we need to first understand how movement types differ from each other. Each movement type provides a different balance of maneuverability, reliability, and top speed. In the case of maneuverability, some movement types will allow us to perform more advanced maneuvers, such as turning in place, strafing, or reversing at full speed. For example, we can consider the array wheel to have a low degree of maneuverability. Arrays will only allow our vehicle to move forwards and backwards, and turn only while moving. In the case of top speed, most movement types will further limit the top speed of our vehicle. For example, the hardened track limits the top speed of our vehicle to 75 km per hour. Even if we used a cabin with higher top speed, our vehicle would still be limited by the lower top speed of our hardened track. In the case of reliability, some movement types can keep our vehicle moving even after losing a few parts. For example, we can consider bigrams to be somewhat unreliable. Bigrams are large and easy to hit, and the loss of a single bigram can cause our build to tip over, leaving us stuck and unable to move. The reliability of a movement type may also be dependent on several additional factors. How durable each individual part is, where that movement part is on our vehicle, and how many movement parts we are using. As we evaluate the movement types available to us, we can see that each one has a unique spread of attributes. Some movement types may be more reliable but offer us less speed, while others might give us great maneuverability at the expense of being very unreliable. When choosing a movement type, our first thought may be to combine different movement types in order to achieve a balanced spread of attributes. Unfortunately, this doesn't work very well. Any exceptional attributes on one movement type are often negated by the inclusion of other movement types. This means that in most situations, we can only choose one movement type to use on our vehicle. In order to pick the best movement type for our build, we need to first determine which attributes are important to our weapon. Maneuverability becomes important when our weapons have long reload times or limited firing arcs. Being able to perform advanced maneuvers can help us take advantage of nearby cover while we're loading, or help us aim weapons with limited firing angles. Top speed becomes important when our weapon operates at a very limited or specific range. In battle, our opponents will often be outside of our weapon's preferred range. Having a high top speed allows us to move our vehicle into a better position for our weapons, while potentially preventing our opponent from doing the same. Reliability becomes important when our weapon depends on our ability to move. Similar to how the loss of our weapons effectively removes us from a battle, the loss of our ability to use our weapons will leave us just as helpless. Using a reliable movement part can ensure that our vehicle retains the mobility or speed it needs, keeping us and our weapons in the fight. Once we've determined which attributes would help our weapon the most, we will need to find the movement part that best matches our requirements. Depending on how many possible candidates we have, we may need to test different versions of our build to see which movement type performs better. In addition, depending on our weapon, we may not always find a movement type that perfectly fits our needs. Let's apply this process to an example build. This time, we will be building around the Defender axial machine gun. The Defender has a limited firing angle and has above average range and precision. One possible fit for our weapon are the ML200 mechanical legs for several reasons. Since our defenders have a limited firing angle, we want a movement type with good maneuverability to help us point our weapons in the right direction. The ML200s offer the maneuverability that we are looking for, as they allow our vehicle to turn in place as well as strafe. Since our defenders have above average range and precision, it is not crucial for our build to have a high top speed. The ML200's low top speed, which can be a problem for other weapons, is acceptable for our defenders. Since our defenders constantly need our vehicle to be pointed in the right direction, we want a movement type that is also reliable. The ML200s offer the reliability that we are looking for, as the loss of one or two legs will not severely impact our ability to move. This will allow us to continue turning and fighting, even after taking heavy damage. In this episode, we talked about how to choose a movement type for our build. We discussed what the 3 key attributes of each movement type are, and how to use these attributes to help us find the best movement type for our build. As we apply this approach, we need to keep in mind that Crossout is still under development. Future updates to the game may change some movement types or add completely new ones, requiring us to re-evaluate our choices. In the same way, the examples we've used in this video may become outdated, but the underlying principles we've discussed should still remain useful. As we end this episode, we want to keep the following guiding questions in mind. When looking at different movement types, am I able to identify and evaluate the 3 key attributes in each movement type? When choosing a movement type, have I considered which attributes are potentially important to my weapon and which attributes are not? That's all for this episode and chapter of Wasteland Engineering. In the next chapter, Meta-Analysis, we will take a deeper look at Crossout as a game and figure out how we can take advantage of certain game mechanics to continue improving our build. Thank you for watching, and see you out there in the wasteland.